Hey girl,
Hi.
happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Last day of January. Happy
Oh,
last day of January and day before. Um,
Black History
Black
Month,
History
girl.
Month, child. Together.
You ready? Does your job do special things for Black History Month?
Oh yeah, they go all in. They go
On
all
this
in.
day in 18,
No, they have like real programming. They have stuff with Heal House. They have all kinds of stuff coming up.
ooh,
They give money to
in-person
black
stuff?
businesses. No, it's all virtual because of COVID, but they usually do in person stuff. They have a whole month full of festivities of um, black businesses to support, black healing spaces. It's not just like here's this Martin Luther King quote. Like our HR lady does not play. He was like, "What? How many? How many?" She literally said on the company meeting, "How many MLK quotes are we gonna name?" I'm not doing that. And they have people sing. The whole company gets together and they utilize their resources and they create these beautiful this very designed email templates, PowerPoint templates, backgrounds for you to put on your camera for when you're client facing so the client can see that what month it is.
Did they ask
They
you
go
to be
all
a
in.
part of anything?
They did, and I declined only because only because I sang last year, and there's another young lady who keeps saying like I sing. I was like, if y'all don't ask that girl to sing, I just felt like it's a little too much. They asked me to sing again for their talent show to raise money, and I was like, sure. And then the guy came back with a full set.
What did you sing last year?
They had me sing just the Black National Anthem. They asked me, first of all, I
I
wasn't
knew
in
it.
the group. I wasn't in the group and I was mad. Like, I would have loved to plan something or to. Now I just look like the person that's not involved in the only fucking, probably one of the only blacks that's not involved in the festivities that didn't help. Just
You
can't
should be
stand
like, I
myself
want to hear,
sometimes.
this is how it should start. I would like us to please do just an instrumental and it just be like, back that ass up instrumental.
No, they wouldn't. I wanted to do the Black History trivia cards, and
Mm,
they were like, no.
we don't know
They
any of
said
that.
no last year. I think because I don't know. But I will say that this year's theme is We Are Family, and I did actually contribute. I told them it would be a terrible idea for someone to sing that a cappella in their house. How awkward. Could you imagine? Just repeating We Are Family over and over again with no track, no nothing. I said, whatever you do, don't do that. Don't
And
ask that girl to sing that. So I did
it's all
say
on Zoom?
that it's another platform of video, but yeah, it's all virtual. Um, but they're dope.
I'm here for that.
Yeah, they do a lot of financial seminar. They do all kinds of shit. It's dope.
Shout out to
They're trying
Black
to help us
History
get our life
Month, kicking
together.
it off for the 99 in the 2000s in the corporate world. Well, girl, I think my fasting has taken me down a dark tunnel, and I've recently become obsessed with bowel movements. My dad has given me all of his 1970s, 60s naturopathic books. And in it is a book called Tissue Cleansing Through Waste Management. And when I was younger, I just wanted to flip through the book because it had the most obscene rant, like freak show poop pictures in it, where you were like, I cannot believe that came out of somebody's body. And as a young child, I would just go, and flip through it so I would see the poop pictures. But as an adult, I picked it up and it's just a totally different experience. And I want to make sure I get my poop together and my bowel movements together every 16 hours. I believe you should be pooping or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, and since I started the cycle journal, they asked how many bowel movements, and I'm
I
like,
know.
I said, what?
It's all connected.
I said, what in the 2 days I haven't pooped is going on here? So I don't think people really understand. I think people think that little brown, my mom calls them little bunny poops, the little brown pebbles is like
Terrible.
a normal poop.
No, it's not.
And
It's
so many
supposed to be the
people
consistency of toothpaste.
and long and brown
long.
and like it should be orgasmic coming through you. It should just be. It should
Sometimes
be.
it is.
It should be. It shouldn't be hard and painful. But I think so many people have just had terrible bowel movements since a young age. They have no idea what their poop should be like. So I'm going to share a little bit later the name and the title, but it is a classic. And then he goes on to talk about different foods, different types of colonics that you can give yourself, and different type of fasting regimens to kind of give yourself a complete detox. So shout out to my dad's aged books that he has that I'm picking up again because they are just really, really wonderful. And I also was going to give my mom these CBD joints. They're called mom joints. I was going to give it to her, mom grass.
I think you should keep them.
What?
I think you should keep them.
I'm smoking them. I'm about to smoke one now just because I want to be like all the other podcasters that smoke them on their podcast. But it's all CBD because I can't handle marijuana. And my secret is that I really wish that I could smoke marijuana because I think people expect me to smoke marijuana and are really disappointed when they find out that I can't and won't.
I hate that you're saying marijuana. I hate it so much.
What do you call it?
I mean, you don't want, just say weed, marijuana.
I don't call it weed. It doesn't come naturally off my tongue. Marijuana feels very natural in my mouth. But yeah, so I've been just lying on my bedroom floor and smoking them and not feeling anything.
Exactly. I was going to say, because CBD is childish. I cannot stand CBD anything.
I'm gonna try
it. Of course. There's so many CBD gummies. I was so upset. I'm not so upset, but I asked someone, not recently, but I asked someone to bring, I saw they were in LA, and I was like, oh, can you bring me back, some edibles? They were at a dispensary, the Black woman-owned dispensary. Look at you. Look at her, everyone. She's smoking it like it's doing something, and it's doing nothing. And they brought me back 2 of what I asked for, and then 1 of like a CBD infused gummy. And I was just like, you wasted my time, my money, and my hopes and dreams.
It didn't do nothing.
It does nothing for me.
I feel a bodily thing that happens. I don't know. I've yet to smoke a whole thing too, so I just like put it down because I'm like, whoa, because I'm childish. So
you just want to see the smoke.
I just want to. I want to feel something. But
whoa, she's about to have an existential crisis. I want to feel something, anything. Next week, Shanti will be cutting. She's like, I want to feel something.
Not cutting. Jesus.
I'm sorry, that was not funny. I apologize. Continue.
Well, maybe because you inspired me to start a budget, like a profit and loss sheet, and now I'm like,
a monthly profit and loss. Yes, you have to do
like,
that.
Wow, Shanti, you really have this much space to do anything that's not outside of keeping you alive, keeping you and your child alive. And I'm just like, wow. But
I'm really happy you're doing that. Because I'll never forget when I was doing my budget, when I was thinking about buying that house in Philly. And everyone, I want you to know that when we were talking about groceries, Shanti was like, you don't spend any more than like, what, $150, $200 on groceries a month? And I was like, there's no way that that's all you spend on groceries a month. You have a kid. No. I spend more on that. And she was like, Antoinette, you are being so ridiculous. You just overthink. And I was like, okay. How much money do you spend a month on food, Sheila?
A lot more than. It's not the food, because that food I think I did. We talked about this before, and I was like, oh, I spend a lot on food. I realized that, but it's the little things It's the little
It's
things.
the kombucha.
It's including the laundromat, because I have to go to the laundromat. Like, it's everything, and I'm like, oh, I have to include all this stuff, and there's very little wiggle room. So thanks for that, Antoinette. And
I apologize.
If you do it like a profit and loss, it's really helpful. You just track everything that you spent,
every dime,
everything. And then you compare it to the amount of money that you brought in or what you thought you were going to bring in. And then you have your actuals and then what you thought you were going to do. Ciao, the ghetto. But,
the enlightenment, the clarity.
And I think for the past, 2 weeks or so, I've been feeling antisocial. I've been sitting with it and being like, am I hiding, or am I I don't know, doing something that's healthy? I'm trying to figure out if it's healthy or not healthy, and it's probably not healthy, but I feel very distant from everybody, and I have to I don't know. It's just a thing. I was like, oh, I guess today I was like, is this healthy or not? I don't know, but that's what's going on over here. How are you?
I am okay. I am also feeling antisocial. You FaceTimed me and I was like, no, I'm so sorry, but I just wasn't. And I feel like I had all these people checking in on me because I wrote an Instagram post about holding space for people going through the pandemic alone. And everybody, I'm sure, just assumed oh, she's having a meltdown over there. Let me check on her and hold her close. Meanwhile, I was, but I didn't want to be held close. I wasn't having a meltdown, but I was just feeling all the things and thinking wow, we're going on year 3 of this. And it is wildly difficult and corny.
Yeah.
These are my formidable years, and I am in the house with my cat.
Not running these New York streets.
But that's okay, because what I am doing is trying to get better every day. I have consistently worked out. I cheated this weekend on my food. I had nachos from Guero's. You have to go to Guero's the next time.
I don't even know that's your kink, girl. I never heard that from you.
From Guero's, they're so good. And it was Sunday. It was football day, and I was just like, fuck it. But it was the only thing I ate because my stomach hurt so badly, and I'm sure it was because of gluten. But I just felt horrible afterwards. It was just angry with myself. But
have you been eating gluten-free?
No, that's very hard. But I don't eat a lot of. I mean, I make most of my own food, so I don't think I'm using a lot of gluten. A lot of it's just vegetables and a protein, and not much carbs at all. I'm starting to incorporate more healthy carbs, but only when I say that, only a sweet potato, because I don't know what else. And I have bread that's gluten-free. I do have gluten-free bread that I'll put under an egg. But I am forming some healthy habits. My sleep schedule is still awful. I go to sleep way too late and have to take a nap after work. So bad. But I'm still learning my Spanish. I'm still working out. I'm still stretching. What else am I doing? I need you to stop. We're not going to do that on here.
You know that one.
No, I don't want to do this right now. I'm not ready when I'm ready. Stop. Because my chest has started hurting. That's I'm not ready yet. The way Duolingo works is they want you to be able to travel. So right now I just passed phrases, and now I'm on the travel where I can ask someone where the hospital is and where my ticket is and about the airport and the bus and shit like that. So just slow and steady, okay?
I'm ready to converse.
I don't know if I'm ready to converse yet. What else? My chiropractor and I, we're in a relationship. It's official.
Mr. Rosenthal?
No, actually, his name isn't Mr. Rosenthal. I'm racist. His name is Mr. Russell. And I thought it was Russell. And then I heard him. He was like, hello, Dr. Russell. And I was like, oh, shit. And I've never said his name because I didn't know how to pronounce it. And I was too embarrassed to ask. But I went to see him again, as I always do. And he had this big, bright smile. And I hadn't been with a human for over a week. And so when I see him, I'm always so happy to be with him. And I come in, I'm sure I have a big old cheese smile on. I'm like, hello. And he's like, wow, hello there. And then he goes, new sweatsuit color, like it. So he notices that, like, I wear different sweatsuits to him. And then he goes, I got a big surprise for you. And I was like, oh my God, what? And he was like, they came early. And it's like we're in a relationship. And he comes out of the room and he has this like little baggie behind his back and he pulls it out and it's my orthopedics.
Girl.
And I'm like, oh my God. And
like insoles?
Yeah.
Oh.
So he's like, stand up. And so I stand up and he's like, hold on to my bag. And then he was putting these orthopedics on my feet as though they were glass slippers.
Girl.
I was like, I'm in a Disney
a king.
And then he's cracking my back and he's still feeling me up the way he does. And I'm just like, okay. I'm kind of okay with this. And then by the end of it, he goes, this muscle's getting tight. I was like, I know. So I haven't been doing anything. I said, I did wake up and my arm was above my head. I said, but immediately when I woke up, I put it down because that's what's locking up my back. And he hits my back and he goes, bad girl. And I was like, we are fucking. And then he, so then he puts the, what is it? The hot, like a hot, compress or whatever on my back. And he goes into the other room to try to fiddle with his computer. He doesn't know what he's doing. And then I yell into him. We're an old couple. I yell into him. I'm like, oh, do you think you can write that letter for me about, my breast reduction? And I was like, I'm still considering it, but I want to have the letter just in case, because the insurance company is going to give me a hard time, I'm sure. He comes back and he goes, yeah. You're really thinking about that, huh? He goes, huh, all right. Something to consider. Good breasts, something really to consider. And walks out like it was nothing, but tells me, and I was just laying there like, did he just say good breasts? And like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know, you should take them off. But, if you want to do it, sure, I'll write the letter. I don't care. But, and so afterwards, I didn't say anything in that moment, but I did bring up to him, I said, you're the one that put this in my head again, because you said that they're causing problems. He's like, oh no, without a doubt they are, but, something to think about. He just kind of like stared at me like, see you next time. And he still has not charged me. So we're really dating.
He's your sugar daddy now.
He's really not. I just think he's a mess and can't figure out my insurance. He was trying to read it. He was like, I don't understand what this means. Let's just see what they do. And I was like, no. I said, I don't want to see what they do because if I get screwed and get a huge bill, I'm going to be really upset. He goes, I won't take your insoles back from you. And I was like, okay. I don't know what's going on with this guy, but he's a hoot and toot. And I just really...
Not a hoot and toot.
He just gets me going. He's such a sweet man. And I just have such human experiences with him. And they're few and far between. So I love my chiropractor. We are dating.
For you,
my
girl.
Old white, possibly Jewish chiropractor. He's like at least 65, and I'm with the shits completely. And he wears the same thing every day. He wears these corduroy pants, little sweater vest button up underneath that thing, little loafer.
Is he small?
Shoes.
Like what's
he's like a, I don't know. I don't know.
Is he like the what is that? Is he like the father from Up? Is he like short and like square?
No,
or is he
no,
like
he's
skinny
not
and
short.
lean?
He's not super frail, but he's a thinner man, and he's taller than I am. But he's just Mr. Russell.
How them hands looking? What them hands look like?
Ew, that's disgusting. This is a asexual relationship.
Damn.
Shout out to him though. I love him. Also, you know who else I love, and this is the last thing. I really love Andre 3000.
Who doesn't?
I had a little piece of an edible this weekend, and I saw that he was trending. I was on Twitter during the game. That's like when I'll hop on Twitter to see like black geniuses be geniuses. Whenever it's like something big is happening, because that's when they just come out with the gifs and the memes, and I'm like, you people are brilliant. But he was trending, and I just love how he's wildly talented, but he has completely protected his humanity. And I think that's what everybody appreciates about him. And so someone posted, once Andre 3000 was on my ferry ride to, I don't even know where this place is. And I said, hi, my 6-year-old autistic son came over and started talking his ear off about German Shepherds, his obsession at the time. Andre talked to him about dogs for like 20 minutes. We exchanged numbers, and 4 years later, I got this text. And it goes, hi, Jason. I was searching for a name and yours popped up. I remember our cool encounter on the boat. Ha. How's the kid? I'm living in NYC now. So if you're here, please reach out, Andre. Like, what a sweet, beautiful human.
I feel like he and Keanu are on the same level of like...
Keanu
Reeves? Do you know the stories about Keanu Reeves?
Yeah,
That's a real nigga right there.
Oh.
That's a real level-headed man.
Okay.
You could get it too.
I knew that was where that was going. I knew it. Well, way too center white men over black rappers.
I didn't. I said they had the
day
same
before
level.
Black History Month. Speaking of Black History Month, I'm gonna have a Black History fact. I'm challenging myself to do that all month. And so this episode will come out February 3rd, God willing. And February 3rd, in 1903 was when boxer Blackjack Johnson became the first Negro heavyweight champion. And I don't know if you know that Blackjack Johnson, NYC, that Most Def song. Mm-hmm. So Blackjack Johnson, I encourage folks to look him up. He died young at the age of 50 in a car accident, but he was a very animated fellow. And he also, a lot of black men talk about him because he was running around town fucking everybody's white wife openly and talking shit about it and then beating people's ass in the ring. But apparently he was an incredible boxer. Of course, 1903, there's no footage, but he is a legend. And so we salute Blackjack Johnson for breaking barriers.
Pour some out for him. We got to have some liquor to pour out for these ancestors next time.
Amen. Ashe. Ashe. Go ahead. Hot shit up next, Queen.
Well, back to white excellence. I'm so sorry, but...
Oh, no.
Do you, of course you follow Humans of New York, right?
Of course, yes.
Now, what was
Continue.
that?
It's just outside. It's just loud.
Listen, Brandon Stanton, the creator of Humans of New York, should win. What's an award for great?
Purple Heart.
Purple Heart. He's
Nobel Peace Prize.
Nobel Peace Prize. He is just bringing the most heart-wrenching human experiences for us to all follow.
She stole my phrase.
What was that?
Human experiences. I've been saying that the last couple of podcasts, but that's okay.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. You're building my vocabulary by osmosis, so I appreciate that. But you know what? If you don't follow Humans of New York on Instagram, then I envy you, because that means that all of these stories are going to be fresh for you and new for you. And you're just going to spend hours laughing and crying and just being filled with the joy and the terribleness of humanity. It's wonderful. You guys should follow it now. And I need to get his book. You know he has a book?
No.
Yeah, he
What
has
kind of
he owns
book?
a New York coffee table where he's just all the little
Oh, I
pictures.
would love
So if you
that.
don't know, what he does is that he randomly, at this point he's big now, he's not doing it, but he built his Instagram profile by randomly selecting people on New York streets and asking them their story. And what he ends up doing is he takes maybe like, in the beginning it was maybe like 4 or 5 pictures, and then on the carousel he would share these people's stories or these little snippets of their lives, and it's just grown to be a thing. And he seems so humble and kind, so shout out to that white man. He could get it too, because that is just a sweet being. And then I don't have the book next to me, but if you too want to get into poop and you really want to start regulating your bowel movements and learning about how your digestive system and your, colon are basically the epicenter of your health. That's where most disease starts. That's where most healing should start. Then you guys should read this classic. It's called Tissue Cleansing Through Bowel Movement by Bernard Jensen. And that's a real ass white man digging in poop and just loving it. That's just his purpose. Could you imagine your purpose in life being poop?
Yeah. Poop is a really
Because it can take you places.
important part of my life.
Is it? You are. Antoinette, I have to take my magnesium. I have to take warm water with lemon. Antoinette, don't fucking
I will
play.
not drink cold water. You cannot put cold water in front of me and get me to drink it. I'm like, nope, I won't be able to go to the bathroom for days.
It stops at the stomach. It makes your stomach go.
Oh my God. I was supposed to get you a squatty potty and I didn't.
It's okay, girl. I'm
going to get you one.
Eat. That's my way of, I'm just now creating a weird relationship with food in the name of health. Like,
I don't know if that's okay.
Most people. So that's just to kick off this shame episode.
Oh.
Yes, that's my hot shit, girl. Literally, okay? Literally.
I don't have anything this week. I'm thinking to myself, did I discover anything new? No, there was some music that I was listening to, but I can't remember whose it was or what it was. And that's what happens. That's why I don't know any of these new kids, because I'll just put something on in the car on the way to see my man, Dr. Russell. And then I never look up to see who the artist is, and the song is gone forever, but the moment lives on.
What is it, on your Discover page? How does that happen?
Yeah, I think it's just... right now, I will say in the wintertime, well, mostly all the time, all I'm listening to, most often what I'm listening to is Afrobeat. And so I'll just put on, they have like a Ginger Me playlist that it changes all the time. They update it. And so I'll just put that on and imagine that I'm somewhere warm. But it also just puts me in a good mood and lifts my spirit. So I'll put that on and ride, and we'll never know who these people are, especially since they're artists that are mostly located, on the continent or in London or something. And I just don't have any connection on who they are. Like, they're not super visible. So, womp. But you know who is visible? Rihanna's pregnant.
So you have a baby. Wow.
It made me so... I don't want to be one of these people that's like, oh my God, like, you know her. So many people were posting about it. I was like, wow, look at how attached we all are to this human we don't know. But I'm just so happy for her. I don't care.
Excited for her.
She has been talking about wanting a baby and wanting to be a mama for mad long. And now it's happening for her, and that just brings me joy.
Shout out to ASAP.
That I don't know her.
Shout out to ASAP.
I need his prayer. Okay? Sierra's ain't working. I need his prayer. Because, baby.
That's funny.
Listen, I'm not playing. I said, wow.
You bagged a real one, the baddest.
Listen, that is a
lucky man.
A brag.
That is
amazing.
Hitting it raw. Oh,
Wow.
wow.
You ejaculated in Rihanna and gave her a baby. Wow.
Now you splitting DNA with the bitch.
Wow.
I'm connected for life.
Yeah.
Wow. I haven't heard.
Can you imagine the skin on that baby? Oh,
wow. What a beautiful little being it's going to be. Because he's a pretty. I don't care. He's
very pretty. And she's just very pretty. And they're just interesting. You know what I was thinking about it? I was thinking to myself, wow, some kid is going to be born and their fucking parents are going to be Rihanna and A$AP Rocky. Are you kidding? Mom and Dad, thanks a lot. Like, what the fuck?
Barbara Jean,
thanks for choosing me. No, that's terrible. But it's like, what? You looking at Blue Ivy and Suriname, like, wait, are you serious? Damn.
What some karma? What's that? That's
that
why.
Baby.
That's why. Well, girl, you went to Bali and you made your prayers at the temples.
I
you got some heavyweight blessings.
Now one of them came true.
You don't know what's happening yet. This shit can come. This is karmic. This takes lifetimes.
Your
next reincarnation could be
go into that. But you know what's funny is that I have been sending pictures of her to Jasmine and Amanda and being like, it's giving pregnant. It's giving pregnant. And Jazz and Amanda kept being like, I don't know. You think? I was like, look at her face.
Her face looks like she's been wearing mad baggy clothes, like mad baggy clothes.
She looks so cute. I did want her to cover that baby up, though. It's cold as shit in New York. She had that stomach out.
Mom,
I said,
cover that baby up.
Cover that goddamn baby. But I'm really happy. I'm just happy to see people win. Like, good for her. You know, good for fucking her. She's launched her empire. Yeah, and him. And I did know that he had roots in Barbados. I didn't know they had been friends for years and years. He had been trying for years. They dated briefly and then no, it didn't work. And they went off and I don't know these people. And I guess one did their own thing and found each other again. But either way, a beautiful Black family is being born in front of our very eyes.
Rich too. Just a generational wealth. Just,
I hope so. Yeah. I hope that it lasts for them. I just want to see nothing but happiness and joy for the both of them. Lovely baby news.
On the contrary,
there you go.
Documentary of Philadelphia's finest, Bill Cosby, is coming out.
It's out. Part 1 is out already. Mm-hmm. It aired Sunday.
Oh, I need to watch this then.
It's on Showtime.
Euphoria. I should be watching this.
It's on Showtime. I haven't watched it yet because I don't have Showtime. But I plan on getting, this is a life hack for everyone. You can get a 30-day trial for free. And so I will do that as soon as all of the parts are released so that I can hurry up and watch some bitches and then cancel so that I don't have to pay anything.
Well, it was produced by W. Kamau Bell, and I was listening to something on NPR. It seems like it's really rich. A lot of people, he has interviewed a lot of the victims, and then a lot of people in Hollywood, Black comedians in Hollywood that are sharing their opinions about it. He's been facing, of course, a lot of backlash from the Black community that, still support Bill Cosby and his legacy. And apparently Bill Cosby's representatives called it a PR hack, which I don't quite understand. Was he just saying that the creator's trying to get attention from it, or I don't know what that means, but they had an all out response to the documentary and just saying, just trying to discredit and trying to uplift Bill Cosby again as the victim. But have we covered this? How do you feel? Are you watching the Cosby Show? Is he dead to you? Or Bill Cosby, for me, I didn't grow up with him as a comedian, but it was the Cosby Show. So that's always been my relationship with him, not him as the artist. I never watched his movies or his stand up. It's just for me.
You never saw Ghost Dad?
No.
Wow.
I don't
Ghost
think
Dad is the
so.
shit. He was a ghost, but he was the dad. He came back to
Oh,
hold him down. He
what?
died because he fell down the steps because the kid put their skates on the steps. And they
Oh,
kept telling him to stop putting them skates on the steps, so he
not
died.
a random tragedy like
But it was a
that.
really good movie.
No, I have only my real connection to him is, you know,
The Cosby Show.
Cosby Show and the movies
Jello pudding.
shows that came from it. Jello pudding, of course, but and I don't know if I definitely can't. I'm not going out to look to watch the Cosby Show, but if it's on, I'm gonna watch the Cosby Show and I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna laugh. I'm going to still love those characters and what it represents. And I don't know what you said.
I haven't said anything. I think Bill Cosby is similar to he's deeply disappointing because he doesn't take any accountability. And that's where I'm just torn of like, why can't you just look back and say this was wrong or times were different and I don't know, do something to hold yourself accountable. But he just cannot do that. He's doubled down repeatedly. I'm not super attached to the Cosby Show. Because sadly I didn't grow up watching the Cosby Show as much. I know the Cosby Show, but I would have to go back and watch it from front to back to know even what happened to all of the characters. I just didn't grow up with that being the show. I am attached to A Different World, very much so. You know that till this day, my dying wish is to be with Dwayne Wayne. Like, and it's tricky. That's why I really wanted to watch the documentary, because from the what is that? Oh man, not the ads. What is it? Why is that word lost on me?
From the preview clips.
The preview. Yeah. It seems that it was really a mixture of people discussing the topic. That there are people who are really angry with Bill Cosby, and there are people who are more like, maybe they don't feel like he did a whole lot wrong. Times were different, and they make kind of excuses for him. And then there's people in the middle who are like, that was really fucked up, but we can't tear down the art. And so I feel similar, like Bill Cosby to me is like R. Kelly, no accountability, no nothing. And I don't know if either one of them's worse than the other. I think that the only difference for me is that R. Kelly was seemingly a little bit closer to present day, where you have to be more clear that this is wrong, and you're dealing with young, underage kids. That's my thing of like, that's my hard line. When you get to children, that's my line. Like, okay. Even with Michael Jackson, I don't feel the same way about him, because I'm just unclear of what happened. But I really don't know. That's why I want to watch the documentary. I want to hear the different points, because I don't know how to feel. And it's tricky.
Slipping women Nickies is a classic.
It's terrible.
Violation. It's not. I don't know if that's like a thin line.
I think what he was I think what he was saying was that that it was a thin line because of the party scene, because of the 70s, because of this, and that there were and it wasn't just the accusations, according to what I've read, weren't just that he was drugging them and then hoping they took the drink. That it was like, no, some of that occurred, and then it was also like, you're in my room partying, getting high. Like, this is a part of the culture, and part of the culture was like, you loosen up that way. Like, there's jokes where he in his stand-up talks about, and then she gets loose, and everybody's laughing. Like, you have to realize is that when I went back and started watching old television shows, specifically comedies that were primetime TV shows, Frasier, I talk about that all. Cheers. They talk about drugging women in jokes all the time.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that's indicative of the culture of like this is, and I'm not excusing it and saying it's okay. I'm saying that like you could never get away with that today. You can't make a joke of that. And so it's just a really different time. But when I go back and watch those shows, it makes me uncomfortable. Like, wow. And I did it deliberately. Like, you could never get away with this now. I think I said on this podcast before, Frasier lost his virginity to his adult teacher at 16.
Oh, Jesus.
And they high-fived him for it. That's child molestation and endangerment and abuse now. But back then, it was something to brag about.
Well, I definitely want to check out the documentary. And regardless of the crimes, I guess the question that we're all grappling with, I think is, yeah, people are it's very black and white, is if you support the artist.
I don't think
do you still support, do you still consume and enjoy the art even though the artist is fucked up?
I think that's a personal thing. I think for me, again, R. Kelly is a hard no, because those are my boundaries and my line. But Bill Cosby, I'm not that attached to him, and I'm angry with him. Then.
Marvin Gaye was a pedophile in many ways too. Anyway, look, that's the thing.
Topic. It's like the more you know.
The more you know.
Exactly. Like I don't know the history of Marvin Gaye, and I'm not popping on a Marvin Gaye CD very often. Now, if I found out something was wrong with Donny Hathaway, I'll be just devastated. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I might have to still play Donny. But it's all about your attachment, you know?
Yeah.
So, and it's personal. But speaking of, I mentioned Michael Jackson. His sister's documentary was out. His sister, who is Janet the God Jackson. Did you happen to, you didn't watch any of this, right?
No, I would love, I want to, but it's on some like random, what is it on?
It's
Lifetime?
On Lifetime. All you need is somebody's cable information. It's really
go to Amanda's house. Amanda got the hook up.
It's really worth it. I don't know if we learned anything very new. I didn't know that much about her previous marriages, but it was nice to hear it from her point of view. There's still something there that just feels like so childlike, but not in just an innocent way, in a like something stunted in the development, almost like it's I don't know. It makes me a little uncomfortable. Like, are you okay? But she's fierce. She's a strong woman, that lady. And what I learned was that she really, and still to this day, has been protecting men and centering them her entire life. From her father, protecting him and making sure. She must have said in that documentary, I don't know how many times, that her life, and it's very well true, her life wouldn't have been what it was without her father. But she also, you could see the deep pain of like never feeling that she got the love from him that she wanted. He was very strict. She didn't even want to sing. He told her she was going to, after he discovered a tape of her playing around in their studio. And you have to realize she grew up in like lavish. By the time she was really able to have memories, they were rich. They were the Jackson 5. They were hosting celebrities at the house and things of that nature, while still dealing with discrimination in their community because they were the first Black family on the street, yada, yada, yada. But they came from very humble beginnings, but she didn't seem to have much recollection of that. And so that was really interesting. I didn't realize that her first husband was just a hot ass mess, DeBarge, that he was like, unfortunately hung up on drugs on their wedding night, that he wasn't around because he was doing like all kinds of stuff. And that she married him because she wanted to be free of her father.
How old was she? Oh, she must have been very young then.
Young, 18.
And then the other guy holding her breast. Who's that?
And then
French guy?
Renee, who was the filmmaker.
Right.
I'm sure that must have been deeply painful because he ended up having issues with drugs as well, but years down the road, and they seemed like they were really happy. But he was documenting everything, even before she was, before that iconic Control album, like before all of that. He was like, he knew what was going, he saw it, he saw the vision, and he had all of this footage that I'm sure she had to pay him to use, or maybe she got it in the divorce, but I'm sure that divorce was super painful because they had to settle. He was like, oh no, I've been with you for years and years and years. Half of this shit was me. And a lot of it was, he was really involved with her career. He was the person that got her to be more sensual. That cover was his French? Idea.
What was he, like a white guy? I don't remember.
Guy? No, I don't think he was. I don't know what he was, but he didn't give white to me.
Look like.
But that must have been really difficult. It was just interesting to watch, and then to go to Jermaine Dupri. So he was dragged. He was in it.
He deserved it.
And he was in it. I didn't realize he was with her longer than both of her husbands.
How many? Oh, they were together for a year.
They were together for mad long, her and Jermaine. They never lived together. She was based in LA. He was based in Atlanta. But what was so interesting to me when they were asking how it ended, his little peanut brain self couldn't even take accountability. Really, in that moment, he was like, I guess so. Me fucking up. Something like that. And it was
corny.
What?
Grow up. Grow up. Didn't you listen to 444?
Thank you. It was like, what are you doing? And then she looked so sad. She said, oh, I heard rumors that he was cheating. And even still, but he's a really great guy. Jermaine's this, doing that whole thing. And I saw myself in her in that moment of like, and it made me nervous of like, what is the line between compassion and empathy and just protecting these Negroes when just let them crash and burn? Then she went on to protect Justin.
What did she say?
Justin and I are friends. There's footage apparently of her horrified after that event, that it was not planned. It was not on purpose. She was crying backstage. Jermaine Dupri was like, I was there. I had no idea. I never even saw the nipple out. Like, I didn't know what was going on. There was just chaos backstage, and she was so upset. And apparently Justin was going to release a statement. She told him not to. She said, I'm getting all the backlash. I can take it. I guess she had already been through the fire with, she supported her brother during his allegations. So I guess she thought, it is what it is. I can take it. But it was just so interesting to me. But the gumption of these assholes, the gumption of Jermaine Dupri to get on my fucking television and giggle about cheating on Janet the God Jackson. Are you fucking kidding me? This lady wanted to marry him, and she said she wanted to have as many babies as he wanted. What? Are you cheating on her? I just can't. I just like, and then giggled. It was the giggle. It's like people make mistakes with a fucking giggle. I almost threw something at the TV. It's like, are you insane? It was the giggle, and it was the fact that he just seemed so immature while he was talking about it. You could see that he cares about her.
Oh, yeah, just grow up. Grow up.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Stunted. He stunted it too. He got rich, bad wealth. Listen, being 20, 22, 25 years old and being extremely wealthy and having access to all types of things, that's going to stunt you. And Andre said it. You got to listen to the interview where he says, like, having that much at such a young age, it freezes you. It freezes your development in a way that you just...
That's what I get from Janet too, though. There's something that didn't develop. There's something
and
that's
if
still
she's been rich and in
so
that for her
childlike.
Yeah, it like stunts
There's
you.
something there that And it's not that her lived experience, you know, it's not that an immaturity. It's not, there's just something that feels that you might be talking to somebody who hasn't fully lived all the things yet. But they're still sound, but there's just something missing.
I mean,
there.
that's the Jacksons. That's also like the Jackson thing too. They all have that type of air of like.
Are y'all
Michael
okay?
too. Yeah, Michael too. just kind of
stuck in their dad's like house, still practicing, still rehearsing. There's something.
And then the trauma that trauma with money, with probably severe neglect, probably with not having had a childhood.
And not having friends. She talked about that, about how, of course, how difficult it was for her to have friends, because she just was like, I had no idea. And she was very aware. I had no idea who was around me and for what, and the reason they were, what their intentions were.
God damn.
And how she struggled with body images, you know, from her being on Good Times. And she's an incredible actress. People don't give her enough credit for that. Janet is really fucking good. Her being on Good Times and them, you know, binding her chest because she started to develop, but they needed her to remain young. Her then going on to be in Fame, and then her putting on weight, and of course people are saying she's a secret baby, and it's just like, it's a lot of shit.
Yeah, her weight stuff has been a thing too.
Yeah,
Janet would be from voluptuous to like rock hard abs in like 2 weeks. You'd be like, what in the bodysuit change?
Yeah, but she said like she's an emotional eater. That's how she copes. That's her coping mechanism. So it was really it was interesting. I was happy she got to tell her story. It was also interesting to see how she hop, skip, and jump right over that billionaire.
I was about to say, what happened with the billionaire that she married, had a baby, and left him the next day?
I really feel that he probably has a team of lawyers, and she's like, I ain't about to fight them over this shit. Like, nope. Skip. She went on to talk about being a mother and how she seems like there's so much resolve in her now. Like, this is my job. She's like, if I go out there and I perform and I'm not at my best, that's completely fine, because this is my number one job now. So I'll take that. I don't care about those headlines.
She's like, is she still like a little bit like this?
Yeah, you know, she did a lot to her face, but I also want to shout out Tyler Perry, because I will say, when people cast
respect on his name.
When people cast folks aside, Tyler will give their asses a job, baby. Tyler said, Janet, come on to be in these movies now. I ain't worried about your nipple. Tyler didn't paid for Meghan Markle and Harry to stay in his house.
Oh, right, he did.
I'm saying, like, Tyler is out here quietly doing the Lord's work.
Oh.
So
he got some up his sleeve with Netflix, too.
He does. Well, Medea's, he's releasing all those Medea films that I still won't watch. But.
Yo. We already talked about them shit slap. I watched the recorded play. I was dying watching that recorded play.
Funny?
I was in it. I was like, oh no, cracking up. We got to do that one day. I'm gonna come over your house and go watch Medea.
I just don't feel like I have that in me. There's so many things surprised, I want to watch, and it's not Medea.
You simple enough. You'd be all in it, cracking up.
I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but Minnie Mouse got a new look.
Hate it.
First of all, that it's in addition to her outfits. Like, Minnie Mouse has, it's not that Minnie Mouse is never going to be pictured in her iconic look again. It's just another outfit, and people are losing their fucking minds over this lady being in a pantsuit. I don't like the spots of the pantsuit. They could have just given me a nice blue sequins pantsuit,
like, get it together. And the way you refer to her as a lady is also. That's problematic because everybody being upset about it.
I just think people are losing their minds over these rebrands from M&M's to this. It's like, fucking relax, yo. And it's annoying to me because it's women. It's women saying like, "Oh, you're losing you're stripping us of our femininity, and we should be allowed to be sexy." And it's like, yo, how is putting this woman, adding a pantsuit to her wardrobe, stripping her of her femininity?
They better not touch Betty the fuck boop. That's all I'm saying. All right. They start fucking with Betty, I'm gonna be
when
mad.
They put Jessica Rabbit in a sweatsuit, I'm gonna be like, all right, hold up.
They started doing that now.
Like,
That was a sex pot. Whoa, talk about
Jessica
inappropriate.
Rabbit. I
Talk
remember
about
watching that and
innuendos.
being like, wow, I'm not that. How do I get to be that? And being little. That's what I'm saying. This shit is tricky.
I was like, is her coochie gonna show? That slit is high. I kept being like, is it? Try to look at that.
no, but
God
everybody
damn.
needs to really relax about Minnie Mouse. I'm really sick of the war on
It
cartoons
ain't
right
slapping. It just ain't slapping.
now. The dots ain't it.
You
The
can't
dots are not
touch.
it.
You can't touch kids. People's
Her original
coming of
outfit isn't
age.
slapping that much. Let me look up Minnie Mouse. What she got on?
Got a little cute. Got little socks, little white socks on, little shoes, little heels, clonkety clonk.
All right, that's cute.
She got the
Oh,
buzz.
that's why they put the polka dots on there, because she has polka dots in the red.
It
Look,
ain't
Minnie Mouse got
working.
mad outfits.
Nah, Minnie Mouse got that.
She does. She got the red. She got the pink. She got the pantsuit.
And she wasn't even unmodest in her other outfit. Her underwear would show every now and then, but for real, it was.
It's not about being modest. It's about it's a power suit.
Get the fuck out of here, man. We
Yo,
already knew
you
she
guys-
had
Y'all are irritating me.
she had the women's touch off of Mickey. You know what I mean?
Oh,
She didn't.
God.
She was real powerful with him. She just had to look at him.
Somebody
Twice.
said, if you gonna put Minnie Mouse in a pantsuit, you better give Winnie the Pooh some fucking pants. I died.
And that is.
Ooh,
Oh.
the way this cat is staring at me, just sitting here staring, stressing me out, waiting for that food. Nope. I know what I'll be doing on Valentine's Day. Speaking of my cat, I'll be hanging out with her. And then I will also be watching Versus. Versus has announced Anthony Hamilton in music.
He
So
gonna eat him up.
Who?
Anthony Hamilton is a far more.
He's a far better singer.
Better artist.
Yes.
But
Musician.
music's album.
Music got the hits.
Yeah.
though. Music got the radio hits
He
for our
said,
ignorant asses. We're gonna be like MAOYAWU.
That's my shit. That's my shit.
No, it's gonna be lovely, and especially, of course, being from Philly, I can remember being on the cheese bus and singing the hell out of music because, baby, how the bus driver would blast Power 99 on the way home if we acted right.
But then,
What was that?
he just started doing the same songs over and over every album. I'm gonna love
know.
you, girl. If you big, if you little, if you old.
No, that song didn't slap. That song wasn't it.
He just kept the same trope though.
No, but when music hits you with So Beautiful, wow. That joint still, I could still play So Beautiful and not be embarrassed. That didn't age. You know what I'm talking about?
How's that go?
The little sex pot song.
Tell me how it go.
Girl, don't you know? So beautiful.
beautiful.
Baby.
No,
Y'all can see. Woo, Teach Me to Love, Merry Go Round, Half Crazy.
1, 4, 3.
Ooh, Don't Change, Don't Change. Oh man. It's gonna be a good time. I don't know if music has 20.
But then music tried to rap. And
No,
then
he
it was
didn't.
like,
Oh, Soul Star? No, he wasn't trying to rap. He was trying to get out of his contract. He did that on purpose.
well, that was embarrassing and not worth it. I would have just
He
stayed.
wanted that lady.
I would have
wanted the label
stayed
to
shackled
drop
down
him.
and ruined my career with that.
Yeah. He started, what was his rap name? I forgot.
It was fucked up. I thought it was fucked up.
Name. Matter of fact, if he The Hustle. Don't play with me.
We gotta play that. You got an outro with him rapping.
His alter ego, The Hustle. Music. And then Soul
was
Child
like,
is a rapper now. And his name is The Hustle.
girl,
Lord save us.
you know who his baby mom is?
Ooh.
I
Stop
gotta talk
smoking
about it
them
off
stupid
the thing because I just
Text me.
she stretches me out. It's the woman that's always nursing her babies and swinging on a stripper pole.
Excuse me?
She was on Instagram. She be nursing her babies by going on the stripper pole.
He had a baby with her.
And I like her, but she just, you know how I feel about people crying on the cameras.
She
and
cries
stuff?
in the
She
camera.
be going on live crying, telling all her business. I be like,
She Jaguar righted it.
What girl?
She acting like Jaguar right. Shout out to her.
And it's a little overwhelming, but I said, wow. music. You done fucked with the wrong one because you tell all your fucking business.
I just can't
Holy
wait to
shit.
see what they wear. I just need him to wear that little hat and them sunglasses because that eye is tricky. But Anthony Hamilton is going to surprise us. I'm
Anthony's
curious
song
to
that I
know
love.
what Anthony Hamilton has written. Anthony Hamilton has songs that make me cry. There's
Me
this one
too.
song that like it feels like a praise song. I'm
Roberta?
gonna find
No.
it.
It's some woman's name that I love.
Charlene. What?
I knew it was a country woman's name.
That makes you cry?
I think so.
No, it doesn't. Don't be annoying.
Don't tell me what evokes emotion in me.
That's stupid. Why would Charlene make you cry? I'm judging the shit.
Maybe
out
it
of
ain't
you.
it. Oh, why Charlene Theron? So that's the wrong Charlene child that came up.
Can't Let Go is my joint. Oh no, he got some shit. Point of It All, I forgot. I have to find the song that makes me weep though. When I play it, I'm like,
yeah, well, cause I love Charlene. That's my shit. I was a young drunk crying to that. I guess.
damn, what's the song? Is it Pass Me Over? Pass Me Over. Anyway, we have been talking a long time, so I got to get through this. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this either. Spotify lost $2 billion due to Joe Rogan's podcast and his comments about the vaccine, the folks that he's had on. I don't listen to Joe Rogan. I didn't even realize this was happening, but apparently he's anti-vax. He has a lot of anti-vax folks on the podcast that it's fine to have a difference of opinion, but they are actually spreading misinformation according to science. Plenty of doctors, over 100 and some doctors, wrote Spotify in a petition begging Spotify to do something about it because he has the #1 top-rated podcast on Spotify. This led to artists such as, what is the homie's name?
Neil Young,
Joni Mitchell, and RiRi.
Joni Mitchell, that'll fuck me up. I'm sad about that.
Yeah, they're all dipping out. So I wanted to spend some time talking about freedom of speech versus agreeing to disagree, opinion versus fact, but we are running a little bit out of time. Yeah, so I think that we can revisit that, but I do think that is important because it is a fine line. But Joe Rogan did address this. He said that he didn't mean to upset anyone. He just likes to invite people on that have varying opinions to keep the conversation interesting. He also agreed to have some sort of warning at the beginnings of his podcast, which people just will scroll through that. But he has vowed to, quote unquote, do better. So we will see. Joe. But we have to get into politics because I have not done politics and I've missed it. I'm going to fly through this as best as I can. There is a Florida bill moving through the Florida legislature. I'm going to try that again. I will say that I've been drinking this, and this is cider with a whole bunch of bourbon in it. And so it's getting tricky over here. And I
Good for you,
really
girl.
don't drink in the house, but I decided to have one. So let's try this again. And I'm talking so quickly that I'm forgetting to swallow. So I'm getting a little juicy mouth.
Girl. It's going to be okay. People enjoy your voice and they want to be here. So everybody else, get the fuck out of here if you're mad. It's taking too long.
CBD hitting Shanti like, fuck it.
It's going to be okay. It'll be all right.
All right. There is a bill moving through the Florida legislature about banning conversations that make children uncomfortable in schools, i.e. slavery, the Holocaust, LGBTQIA rights, etc. This bill is backed by the Republican governor. It will prohibit Florida's public schools and private businesses from making people feel discomfort or guilt based on their race, sex, or national origin. It received the first approval Tuesday by the State Senate Education Committee. This is the most dumb shit I ever heard in my entire life. You need to feel uncomfortable. It's history.
Not dumb. That's scary, Antoinette.
That's
dumb. That's scary.
Yes, it's actually terrifying.
That's fucked up.
They're literally trying to erase history.
Yeah.
I just saw that they removed, I forget what other book it was, from required reading. I know The Mouse or Mouse,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other one? Damn, I forgot.
It's a great book too. Great
Yeah,
art.
I know Beloved was gone.
What?
Oh yeah, Require Beloved's out of here. But they are erasing history, and I think they're also, in my opinion, to go back to my new favorite phrase,
The human
they're
experience.
ruining our human experience. I'm serious. These things happen, and maybe you do need to feel a little guilt, a little shame. You need to feel a little uncomfortable, and then you have a conversation about it, hopefully with a parent or a teacher or a friend,
You need
and
to
you come to the
fucking know about
conclusion,
it.
right, that it wasn't you, and that you need to do differently. And these are the things to look out for. You know, if you don't know about your history, it will repeat itself. So all of these states are just like, for lack of a better word, whitewashing shit. And then what? Then you don't even know the warning signs of corruption, of a Trump, of a Hitler, of a, like, are you serious? And this is, history is deeply rooted in people's identity, in their way of being, in their culture. It's in their bones, in their marrow, and you just want to erase it because you feel uncomfortable? Shut the fuck up. What? Do you know how uncomfortable people are in this country? This is wild to me. People are uncomfortable every fucking day, and you just have to deal with it. Or we just have to deal with it. I want to feel uncomfortable when I'm learning. I want to feel challenged. Like,
I mean, I don't think
you're
it's
not
that.
preparing these kids for life.
I don't think it's that. It's not veering that far away from what's been taught in schools for the most part, anyway. You know, I think we've had this whole wave of wokeness, and like it's part of the national discourse. And I think this is the response to that. Like,
I don't agree with that,
it's becoming a national discussion, and white people are like, "You're not gonna make me feel guilty. You're not gonna make my kid feel guilty. We feel guilty enough from all of these protests, all of these things. I'm proud. I'm proud to be American. I'm proud of my history here. I'm not a slave owner. You're not going to make me feel guilty, nor my kids feel guilty. So you're not going to shove this propaganda. It's propaganda to them. It's propaganda. Insanity. It's similar to misinformation the same way that I think a lot of liberals feel, you know, Republican rhetoric is. It's just, it's two sides of the same coin. We just talked about Joe Rogan. Like, even silencing him feels scary to me. It just feels scary. All of it feels scary.
The only thing I'll push back on it is different than what we've learned up until this point, because I don't feel that history is taught sufficiently in this country, especially in the school system, or accurately. But at least we fucking know about it. At least we know the Holocaust was a thing. At least we know about slavery. At least, like, we know of the topic. And it's up to us to go out and be critical thinkers and get the more information and go and do a deeper dive into what the little things that we learn in school, right? They're talking about not even discussing it. Didn't happen. It's like, what?
Wait, so what's, I'm so curious.
What the fuck are you going to teach?
How was America founded? I just want to know, like, how are they going to explain the existence of your ass being the fuck here? How are you going to explain black people being, how are you going to explain?
I don't know.
How are you going to explain any of it?
I think maybe they'll just teach who the presidents were. And
I think they might just do the paragraph things. They don't want the texts around it. They don't want the lessons. They don't want the deep dive. You can say slavery happened, but you're not going to talk. You're not going to do the life of a slave girl. We're not going to read that. We're not going to read Beloved. We're not going to read these accounts that humanize and bring out humanity.
That's the
human experience, bitch.
That's the name of this podcast. A human experience.
They don't want to do that because it's propaganda to them. You have to understand what the idea is. You're trying to break my national pride. I'm proud to be a white American.
What is a white American, y'all?
They're people that are proud of the history. They're proud of America's legacy of fighting for freedom.
But whiteness isn't real.
But they don't understand that it's a place where there is economic equality, where people have come and everybody have the same opportunities, and you take advantage of them depending on your ability and your sense. And if you don't take advantage of them, it's because you're irresponsible and probably subhuman.
Oh my God. Well, this is terrifying, and we need to be paying close attention to it.
We gotta go to the caves of. I don't know where to go. Ain't nowhere to go.
Ain't nowhere to escape this shit.
We gotta go to the white country to
get away. It's ridiculous. I'm going back to Bali. You don't have a whole lot of freedom there. You get locked the hell up for that CBD cigarette, but fuck it. They don't play that. In other news, Ahmaud Arbery. Oh, stop, Blue! Don't do that.
This just came out. What happened? I don't understand what happened.
So his okay. So the federal case, the lawyers tried to accept a plea deal without the consent of his mom, which my understanding of the law, that without not even just her consent, but her being aware, she's saying she was completely blindsided by this. I'm explaining it.
Her defense lawyers, or her lawyers tried to do this.
No. The defense lawyer.
Okay,
I don't understand it. I don't understand it, actually, now that you're saying that. I don't know who the fuck did it. Who did it?
Because I feel like the lawyers talk to each other when it comes to like plea bargains.
They do.
But what I watched on The Wire, it feels like they.
No, they do. So it must have been. So the lawyer that has her back must have been the lawyer from the state prosecution, maybe, or maybe a family. I don't quite understand anything, but I know that they tried to reach a plea deal, and she was not aware of it, which is actually illegal. I'm pretty sure that you have to be aware of any plea deal, whether you disagree or not. You have to at least be aware of it. And so this plea deal was basically saying that the guys that were found guilty would serve time in a federal prison instead of a state prison, because it's just safer. It's a little more plush, if I will say, as plush as a prison can get. But the judge, breaking news, just accepted the guilty plea to the federal hate crimes, but rejected the federal request that they serve time in a federal prison. So the judge was like, yeah, okay, I accept your guilty plea, but you're going to serve time where the fuck you serve time. Sorry. So the judge honored the request of the family. So that's really interesting. And I want to do some more research into it because I don't quite understand everything. It's hard to follow because we're just getting bits and pieces. When I looked up what the actual plea deal was that was on the table, it wasn't made public yet. So it's really hard to understand what happened here, but I'm very curious. I don't know why well, of course we know why, but it's a bit ridiculous how much national coverage this trial got, and for them to still be trying to make it easy on these assholes is really it's not confusing, but it's just like, what? Y'all just do this shit right out in the public. But anyway, in other news, something that's not getting enough press, apparently 6 HBCUs received bomb threats today.
No.
The day before Black History Month. And so I know Howard was on, I had the list and I lost it. I know Howard was on that list, and I know that they were doing their due diligence today to try to figure out where these bomb threats originated, X, Y, and Z. But people have to realize, like, these are resources that there's already a lot of limited resources at a lot of these schools. And so the fact that they have to then now spend time and money and resources trying to protect their student body and investigate these horrible threats is just ridiculous. And I keep looking this up because I want more information, but it's not getting the coverage that it deserves. Yeah, so that is happening. And so we need to be alert, as always, and vigilant. In other news, the Supreme Court With Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer retiring, Joe Biden vows to uphold his campaign promise and appoint the first Black woman to the court. There have only been 2 Black Supreme Court justices in its history, Justices Thurgood Marshall and Clarence Coon Thomas. And then we also have conservatives freaking the fuck out, saying that this is affirmative action. And they suggest we appoint Candace Owens to the courts.
Candace?
First of all, this
you have
notion.
To be vaccinated to go to the Supreme Court?
I don't. You know what? There are actually no official qualifications to be a Supreme Court judge, which is wild.
You have to be
me.
a judge, right? You have to have like some law.
You would think, but according to I didn't think that Candace was a judge. Or is she a lawyer? She might have been a lawyer.
What the fuck does Candace do?
Just run her fucking mouth, just like us. But Candace was having a goddamn fit about Minnie Mouse. Did you see her rant?
No, she.
Oh man, she said Minnie Mouse is destroying the fabric of the United States of America. I said, wow.
Candace
not
is
Minnie
unwell.
Mouse, not the pantsuit.
What's
Pantsuit ruined it. Candace... I just want to say, I love that you didn't blink an eye when I called that man Clarence Coon Thomas.
No, I said that's his middle fucking name.
That's his middle fucking name. The work that he has done to dismantle our civil right to vote, and it's just why, like, he is. I'm telling you, some people just gotta die off. But the conservatives, what's wrong with y'all?
All crazy. Biden.
I don't think Biden is crazy for this. The court should look. The court, I actually think, and of course, is he probably doing this for political purposes? Duh. But guess what? I ain't fucking mad at it. And I don't think it has anything to do with affirmative action. The Supreme Court is a court that your ass you get nominated and put in that bitch. And then you're there for the rest of your life until you don't want to be.
Why are you using that language about that?
Because I'm irritated. I'm
if you go to the Supreme Court, you get motherfucking nominated, putting that motherfucking in state until you motherfucking
you're right.
dead,
I'm sorry.
nigga. Like,
I'm sorry. I'm having a human experience. Forgive me. But I'm saying the Supreme Court should look like the world. It should, or this country, at the very least. This is wild. This is beyond. We're overdue. But I have an issue with the Supreme Court in general because I don't feel that the Supreme Court is a very democratic system. I don't get to vote for Supreme Court justices. I feel I should. Mm-hmm. They just get appointed. Hopefully, our person is in office and we fuck with them heavy, and we get a judge that we agree with, and then they're there for life. And then the only way to get rid of them is 1, if they die, 2, if they retire, and 3, if you impeach them.
That's weird. First of all, this just doesn't even make sense.
There should be terms. There should be terms to this.
I just feel as though this handbook needs to be looked over again.
Yes.
Where's America's HR to be like, actually, this
Thank
is
you.
no
and the
longer...
other thing, people, they keep wanting to bring up the Constitution. Well, guess what? Motherfuckers were living until they were 40. They was dying from like gonorrhea.
That blacks were 3/4 of fucking humans.
Nobody thought somebody could be appointed. Amy Cohen Barrett is like 12 years old. She's going to be on that court for 3 goddamn generations.
Like, how much they getting paid?
Who doesn't want that power?
They got tests that they need to take every now and then to see if they got a continued education.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, hello, can we get some new blood? I just think we need to rethink this whole system. But as soon as people touch the courts, that is when you're going to have civil unrest.
Bundle up.
Wow. Listen, they're not playing about those courts. So,
America.
I forget her name. It escapes me. There is a woman. Apparently, there's a court that is basically a feeder to the Supreme Court, and there's a black woman who clerked under the current.
What does clerked mean?
She worked with him. Why are you like this? Are you high from the CBE thing? I can't tell. Are you? Tell me.
You're just
if you're high and I'm drunk, this is gonna get tricky.
Said she was clerking. I never heard that word.
That's what it is. You clerk. It's a legal term. Like you're a clerk, a legal clerk. Don't upset me.
That's why they
Shanti.
don't have the masses appoint Supreme Justice, because I'm like, twerking.
Oh, she was clerking.
She was clerking.
Oh my God.
Nasty.
No.
Pay sex workers
All right,
for real.
I think that we're done with politics. I think Shanti's it. But all I'm saying is I think that I do not believe that
Candace is not.
I don't believe
not the bitch.
No, I'm not even talking about Candace. Candace, that's just ridiculous. But this notion that this is affirmative action is really.
White people love to say affirmative action.
It's a slap in the face. There has never been a black woman. And I think and then they're trying to politicize it and say that Joe is politicizing it by making this his campaign promise.
Which he is.
Actually, Ronald Reagan politicized it when he said that he would appoint whoever the fuck he said. I know, but this is what they do.
They politicking. They politicians.
Right. So what do you mean?
What else is she gonna clerk? He gonna politic. Shit.
I want you to look up clerk while we go on to the next thing. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to take a break. We need to rate. Please continue to rate, subscribe, and share.
Why y'all mad? Y'all naming what he's doing.
I'm so sorry. I think Shanti's high. Share around the way, girls. We would like to shout out our new patron, P. Holder. I don't think she's due. I think she just listen to her. Do you hear it? She's still smoking.
I think I'm gonna start when I really start smoking weed. It's gonna be.
I want you to be high so badly. You have no idea.
We both should be on there, and then just a disgrace. My daughter's gonna be like, "Really, Mom? All my life, this is how. It's really what you've been doing."
Ignoring me every Monday and Tuesday.
Talking on the mic.
Anyway, we have a voicemail. We have a good
I would
voicemail.
love to hear it. This is a long one.
It's late though. This is a long one. Where are we at? We're already an hour and 22 minutes in, Shani.
It's okay, Antoinette. I really don't think people are like, whoa.
But this voicemail, shout out to Shanti. She left a voicemail. It's a really great voicemail, but I think it might be best if we do it with the guest that we're going to have Valentine's Day week, because it's about being single and moving through life in that way and like working through life. So we're going to hold on to this voicemail. I'm going to remember it. It's a really thoughtful voicemail. But Shanti, we did not forget about you. And if you want to call and leave us a voicemail, please call us at 215-948-2780. That is 215-948-2780. Go ahead, Shanti.
In addition to that, shout out to all of the really kind and sweet emails that we've been receiving from folks. We love to hear from you. So I just want to acknowledge that as well.
And so we're going to go to the break now. That was your cue.
Oh, after these messages, we'll be right back. I want to do like a quiet storm, John.
Change the song. All right, that was long. But this topic is going to be short because I ain't got a lot to say about this or whatever.
Shame, I could talk about all day. That is my middle name.
And we are back. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just talking. Go ahead. Do it again.
You ready? Mm-hmm. 1 second. Hold on. And we are back. So I was perusing on the interwebs, aka Instagram. And I haven't really been on Instagram much lately because I just put whatever I want on there and then I get off because I've been trying to not be influenced by these algorithms and this constant scrolling and the confusion that it brings to my life, in all honesty. But I did see something on there that stood out to me. And that was Shame doesn't exist when stories are told in safe spaces. And I sat with that for a minute and thought, And I wasn't in the best of spaces, I think, emotionally, that in that moment. And so I thought to myself, where am I holding shame and what am I ashamed of? And when have I been able to release that shame? And so I read it again. Shame doesn't exist when stories are told in safe spaces. And then I thought to myself, I wonder if I know what my safe space is, and I wonder if I know how to give or provide safe space for others. And I really sat with that because when I tried to define for myself what my safe space was, it was hard. And it was even hard to define even when I'm alone. Like, when do you feel safe enough to just let it out? Do you feel safe enough to just let it out? Because you have to be really brave to first acknowledge what you're feeling, admit that, and then share it. So I wanted to talk about that. And I wanted to I want us to ask ourselves, to challenge ourselves, to invite us to define our safe space, attempt to, or safe spaces. What does it look like? What do they feel like? How do we allow people to give it to us, to provide it for us? And then how do we create safe spaces for others? And how do we let go of that shame? Because we joke around about shame all the time, right? And I know that we carry it. And I know, even with you, that there are times when you pull back. And I don't know if it's because of me or if it's because of you're not ready to admit something to yourself yet or say something out loud. But often I know that it's attached to some kind of shame. And I think I do the same thing. And I think different people provide different safe spaces. There are certain things that I'm sure you can come to me with, but there are certain things that I'm sure you can go to Amanda with. Or you can go to Tahai to, or your sister, or this or that, you know? And so I'm just curious. Well, that's the thing. So I'm curious to know all of the things. One, I think first maybe we start with what our relationship to shame is, and then talk about the safe spaces we need and the safe spaces we can work to provide for others. And go.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting though, because I am smoking the CBD. And the reason that I can't smoke marijuana, because the feeling, I keep saying marijuana.
You sound like your mom. You hear it?
I just heard myself. The reason that I can't smoke marijuana. I hate myself. I love myself.
Sound like a
is
fed.
because I feel shame and so deeply when I'm high. It overwhelms me in a way that like I think that I actually need to start smoking in a space where I feel comfortable, probably by myself, so that I can like start interrogating that. But that's an aside. Just to say that yes, I think I feel shame around being vulnerable. I think I carry shame around feeling sensitive or feeling overly sensitive. I carry shame around for a while, more and more I've become less and less ashamed, but when I was a young mother, single mom, serving tables, serving rich white people, I would hide that I just, it wouldn't be a part of my identity that I shared that I was a mother. In relationships, me being a mom and me having this narrative of this being a huge burden and responsibility. Oh. Oh, God. Wow. Internet just literally slobbered. And it wasn't like you weren't moving or anything. You just couldn't keep liquid in your mouth.
Sorry. Oh. I don't know what happened. I didn't think you saw it. I was going to keep going. I was like, she didn't see it. Nobody's going to notice. No, she's not going to notice. I can't believe you saw that. Yeah, so weird, really right?
It just spurted out twice. Two spurts. And then you tried to cover it.
I was actively listening to you, and I think I just forgot to swallow. I'm sorry. Please go. I'm sorry.
Around motherhood, being a young single mom and moving around the world and in relationship has been a space of shame. And I think the thing that's most tender to me now and what I'm trying to work through is the vulnerability part in relationships, because I don't know that I am allowing myself and offering the experience of deep intimacy with a lot of people because of how tender that feels. It just feels like, it just opens up to parts of myself that I think I have yet to explore, and to offer that to explore those parts that you don't know with yourself with somebody else is very risky. Sometimes I'm the one taking a risk. But I don't remember your other questions, but that's probably
that's where
my shame spirals in my life.
Shame.
Yeah. How about you?
I think for me, and it fluctuates. It's not all the time, but I think a lot of the shame that I carry, or that ebbs and flows, is around. Well, one was around not living alone. I had a lot of shame with that. Like, I am not an adult. This is ridiculous, and really judging myself. And now that I do live alone, I do feel a lot better about myself. So, and just where I'm at in life, I want to, I don't know why, but I have a lot of shame, and I know that I'm doing all right, but I have shame with where I'm at. I want to be doing better. I want to be more comfortable. Financially, I want to be able to help people out. And I'm not uncomfortable, but I'm not at the place where I feel that where I can say I've arrived. And a lot of that is rooted in ego. And so I have to check that, and not happiness. And so I hesitate to say that it's shame, and because it's more about ego. But also freedom of, like, I want to have freedom to move the way I want to move. And so there's shame sometimes when I'm doing that budget and I don't have the wiggle room that I once did have when I was not living alone, right? When I could be like, oh yeah, we going to South Africa, we out. It was nothing. It was like, okay, yeah, we're out. I'm not worried. I have money. I have this. And so I also have shame around, or sometimes, it's not often, but it is, I don't know if it's shame, but internally, I think that I could possibly shame myself for being single, for not being quote unquote chosen, for entering a part of my life where I'm grappling with, like, oh, you might not have a kid, of not being able to, I guess, quote unquote, achieve that or have that. It almost feels like maybe I did something wrong. But then honestly, I know I didn't. I talked to somebody last night and was just like, I can't settle. So that also can sometimes feel like shame, but I can easily navigate it when I sit down and recognize, like, this isn't shame. This is you're lonely and longing. But you're not ashamed of the decisions that you've made about the partners that you have either passed on or been with, for the most part. Like, it's been the right decisions. You're not settling. But the one place where there is shame, and I know it's shame, is around how I take care of myself physically. Like, when we left for break, I was so upset with how my body felt and how I did. And I was just like, it's your fault. You're not taking care of yourself. You're not stretching. You're not working out. So there's shame when I have a cheat meal. There's shame when my stomach is sticking out more than it did the other day. There's shame when I go and try clothes on and they don't fit. My breasts don't fit in a shirt. My boob, I have to keep tucking it in because it's spilling over or something. It doesn't quite fit. There's shame in that, of like, it just feels like a rejection. And I've talked about this before. And I say that it's not all the time because I'm actively working to, like, not be ashamed, because I don't hate myself. I really don't. But when I make decisions that probably aren't the healthiest, I do feel shame. And I can't, I worry about the amount of shame that I feel. Because there has to be a balance.
The shame that you're feeling.
I'm worried. I'm not ashamed. It worries me how severe the shame is internally. Like, when I ate those nachos this weekend, how shameful I felt.
Yeah.
How I didn't even want to look at myself. Because my and it was like gluten, the stomach sticking. I was like, you knew it and you did it anyway. What the and it was the shame that came over me, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I tried to stretch, and I tried to journal, and I cried, and I read, and I took a bath, and I did all the things, and it was still just sitting right here. Of like, you self-sabotage, you do it to yourself, you're never gonna and starts rolling off. And then the shame turns into, this is the why all these other things haven't mapped out, right? And so it weighs on me.
Attacks
heavily.
you. That ain't weighing on you, girl. That is attacking
it's an attack, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not someone that goes through life like, oh, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm this. I'm not that person either. But I have a strange relationship with my body where it's not always the best one. And I'm working out, I'm doing this, but I check in where I'm like, you have to be doing this, not because you're ashamed of yourself, but because you love yourself and you want to take care of yourself. And it's all about intention. But I cannot lie and say that the shame, is not there. Like, if you ever, well, probably not, but have you ever, like, felt really good about yourself one day, and then someone takes a picture of you and you see it and you're like, I look, and you don't recognize yourself. You're like, oh my God, this is not how I felt. And it's shocking. You're just like, wow, okay. And then like your body gets hot.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah, I know the
that.
temperature part, but yeah.
But it's that privately too,
Mm-hmm.
which is like scary. Um so that's where my shame is rooted in. My shame is usually rooted in in feeling like I'm supposed to be a better version of myself than what I am.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like, but it's where most shame comes from.
Yeah, right?
You know, the root of it is
Hmm.
I need to be different. I'm not good enough. Who I am, how I am.
Hmm.
It ain't, bad. And
Shame, bad.
I don't know how to not be this way.
Yeah. So, and
And
you,
don't let nobody know that I'm this way. Like, and nobody can like see the things.
that's the thing is that I feel like that's where I feel weird about it because I feel like I do let people see the things. Like I've talked to you about this.
When you let people, and again, it goes back to what I was saying before about hiding from somebody or taking your own solace. I think all the girls, we do this thing of like, we'll share our stuff with each other, but
Mm,
once we've kind of collected ourselves and like got ourselves out of the, we're not bleeding anymore, we've like licked our own
got it.
wounds. And I don't know, I don't know if that's okay, or what happens when you're like a little bit of a mess and you reveal that part in front
Mm,
of somebody else, and you like discover and figure out what's going on with somebody as a witness versus like you giving the narrative like, girl, I was tripping, I thought this, sometimes I feel this thing happened, versus being
where
like,
you've already
I feel
reflected and
this, being a mess.
hmm.
um like, yeah. And I don't um for me, my early exposure to that kind of energy
Hmm.
was should not have been put on a 4-year old, right? Like
Hmm.
that kind of vulnerability, that kind of like, ah! I think I felt like I was managing that for a long, long time. And somehow, even though it's not conscious, I've tucked that away to be like, no,
Hmm.
that is messy. That is too much.
I
That
can't
is
be
not,
that.
I can't be that. But I can hold space for other people for that. Like I'm not, I don't think I judge people. Maybe it is deep seated judgment, but
That's
I
why you
don't
don't
know
let
how
people
to
cry on the
always be
internet.
that. But I think that I can be there for other people in that kind of way, which makes it this, it's a
Feels
balance.
unbalanced. So let me ask you, what would you need? What do you think you would need in order to be a mess
I've
in
been
front of
thinking about,
somebody this
I think
space?
I've been thinking about this often, and it's hard with the pandemic. And I think I've discovered in my what do you call that? Conjugal, in my partnership, in
What?
in your love with a man, my
Okay.
partner.
Okay.
Um, I've been able to do a little bit of that for the first time. And I think what I'm discovering is me being around people settles me in a way that I can slowly open up. I can't come off the jump and like, it's hard for me to call somebody while I'm in the throes of something. It's just hard for me, or even to like work out hard emotions that I'm having. It's hard for me to do that. But when I'm in constant contact with somebody, it's easy to do that. Like
Mm.
I even think about like the difference energetically when I came up to visit you and like hang out with you for that little bit of time, it just felt like, oh, it just takes me a minute to be like, I don't know, to like kick it. I just have to kick it with somebody and like be around that person so that I can relax and let my guard down in a way that I don't think other people, it's not a thing for other people, but it's hard for me if I'm not talking to you regularly. One, I just have a problem with narrating things. I forget stuff. If you're not like in the day to day, it's hard for me and exhausting for me. And I don't get off in the ways that other people are like, yeah, girl, I was doing this thing and this thing happened. It's more
details. Like Shanti does not give details.
I'm terrible at it. It's just, it's not good. But I feel like being in constant contact with somebody and talking with them allows the safe space. And I have to be the one to also pursue that. I can't depend on somebody else to do that. I have to be the one that like shows up to make that point of daily contact so that, you know, I can have that safe space.
When you are in contact with the person, because I feel like I've seen maybe a handful of times I've seen you quote unquote a mess. I've always been calling you and probably hounding you and forcing you to asking you questions, and like you might cry, and it's very rare. But in that moment, what do you need when you are a mess? When you make the contact, what do you need to feel safe?
I also realize that I have to just talk. A lot of me processing stuff is me just talking things out and going around in circles and having somebody ask questions too. I feel like, just the way my mind works, to have somebody else who sees objectively and cares about me and is not from a place of like judgment or even, again, trying to solve the problem, but more like, all right, we going down, let's go down. That helps me, is just talking it out and like with somebody that knows me well enough to help me, guide me to figure it out or to explore the things. But yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
What
about you?
I think with me, my safe space looks like I often find that when I do share, I have a lot of people in my life who hold me in high regard, which is like such a beautiful thing. A lot of people who are like, no, but you're this, you're that, and no, you're doing it right, and da 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 da. And so when I feel a mess, it's told like, girl, you ain't, it feels negated when it's like, girl, you on the right path because these Negroes is annoying, da, 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 and you ain't got these fucking kids driving you crazy, and it just feels like I don't have a right to feel how I feel often. Or, oh yeah, I would love to have breasts, and da, da. It just feels like, oh, okay, I should shut up. And so I often feel silly for feeling the way I feel, because it's, you make so much money, like, oh my God, I don't make that, and it just feels like, all right, well, let me shut the fuck up then. I don't have room. I don't have room to feel like this, and I often feel like I feel like the expectation of me is that I'm okay. Or that I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's how I show up. I'm okay. And oftentimes I'm not. Especially with the pandemic, I find that there is just not a lot of space for people who have experienced this solo. And who are still experiencing it solo. and who look forward to seeing their chiropractor because that's the human experience they're going to have for the week.
Mm.
And so I think my safe space looks like acknowledgement and like just hearing, like, I can't imagine that. And not like, well, girl, these fucking kids driving me crazy. You lucky. Just like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. I'm lucky. I'm lucky. You're right. And it just, I'm not saying you do that. I'm just saying like it happens. I think that safe space for me, same with the pandemic. You wrote something in our notes once that you said hard conversations require physical contact, and I think it's so true. There was a tactic that I had when I was in my last relationship where I really tried not to have hard conversations over the phone because they never went right. And I would always try to actively touch my partner, whether my hand was on his knee, I would ask him to hold my hand, something, because I just feel like it's the reminder of like, love exists here, so let's talk. And there's something about physical touch for me that it was not necessarily a love language of mine that was super prominent, but now that I haven't had much of it, it feels incredible. Mm-hmm. And so I think that safe space is that. My safest space is acknowledgement and knowing that like love exists in the space. Mm-hmm. Because there's oftentimes, I don't know, I just feel
that's a hard one for me, because I think I get in my mind around what I think the other person's going to say. You know, like it still takes a level of courage to enter into the safe space. I don't think it's very rare. I think every time that I know the relationships will hold me, but I think there's a part of me that's like, oh, this person's going to react this way, or this person's going to think this thing. So it always is a leap of courage, at least for me, to like, to step into the safe space. Mm-hmm. Like the person may have it there and it's safe, but I'll be like, you know, I'll be in my head around, is it really safe? What are they going to think? But you still have to walk into it. It still takes a level of some effort and like two people meeting each other versus somebody like grabbing you. And it's very rare that somebody.
I think that's a great segue into how can you help people give you the safe space? Mm-hmm. Because I think that where I falter is that I usually walk into spaces and I'm like, they're safe until they're not. Mm. I'm very open. I'm very like, oh yeah, because when this happened to me, and like I can be very open in that way. But I don't tell people that's not what I needed. Or in this moment, you're not allowing me to feel how I feel. This is what I need. Mm-hmm. I don't, when the space doesn't feel, it's not giving me the safety that I need, I don't ask for it. Mm-hmm. Because oftentimes I feel like, now, when some spaces are just not safe because this person, that's not your person. That's not your net, right. That's not your core group of folks. But when you know that somebody loves you to death, do anything for you, sometimes they just don't know. And so I don't ask for it. I don't call it out and be like, instead I just shut down.
So then it's not really you laying in the space.
Right, like exactly.
So it's, you're not even...
I'm not showing up in it, just like you said. And allowing it to form, helping to cultivate it. I think that we often assume that like people should just, create the space for us. But a lot of people don't know, because your safe space versus my safe space, two different spaces. And I'll never forget reading some quote where like someone said that before every conversation, hard conversation with their partner, and this can be your partner, your friend, your parent, whatever, that they ask, do you want solutions or do you want comfort? And I think that's really important. And I think sometimes intuitively you'll learn it, right? Like I think I've started to learn with you, like you don't want solutions in the moment. Like if you're crying, it's like, no, ask what happened. Ask what happened. Ask, well, what made you feel like that? How are you feeling now?
Yeah.
What can I, like what support do you need? Like ask those kinds of things. Like get it out of you, because you're not going to tell the details. And the more details you talk about, the more discovery you'll have. Mm-hmm. But I did not always do that at all. And I know it. And I probably still don't always do it right. But I think asking and establishing what's needed is really important in any relationship. Mm-hmm. Like really important. I think about this podcast with you and I, and like we are talking about these evergreen topics, but because we're sharing with each other, it's like we're learning so much about each other. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just aiding us in our relationship. But there's so many conversations that I have to have with other folks that I don't have this opportunity with. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of work.
It is. It's a lot of work. It requires a lot of contact, because they don't get the context. Like we've been building, and we, as well as our followers, have been building context so that when we say these things, that people are not like, what? Like, mm-hmm. And that's the kind of intimacy that I want, right? So like if I say, I don't know, I have vulnerability problems or whatever, you have the context, all of the things, where it's not this like you're talking to somebody that you have to explain everything all over to, which is exhausting and makes you feel like, oh, this person doesn't really know me and I don't have the capacity. They definitely don't have the capacity in this moment.
But that's part of it. You have to experience the things too.
You have to experience well, that's what I'm going to work on. I'm going to work on coming towards people more and building the context with them and learning their context too. Because, who's to say that I definitely don't know what.
It's also not a bad thing if you don't do this with everyone. You might not be the person that does
that's
all
what
that.
I have to figure out too.
Yeah, you might not be that person, but if you want it with certain people, meet them halfway, definitely. Show up.
That's true.
I don't know if we solved anything here. Safe spaces. Shame does not exist when stories are told in safe spaces. Only stories of shame. I mean, does it really not exist? Or are you just shamed in front of other people, but you still feel comfort? So you're like, all right, I'm not judged. You working through the shame.
I think most importantly, I guess we have to be our own safe spaces in some ways too, right? Like when you're spiraling, you got to activate another part of you that calms you down, is kind to you. That's like, you don't talk to Antoinette like that. She's doing the best that she can, okay? She wanted to enjoy the show. She's looking for pleasure and she deserves it, okay? You gotta find that other part.
Show, I've been spending a lot of time alone. You don't want to hear what I've been saying to myself. Whole ass conversations like, girl, that is so crazy. Oh my God. Baby.
Girl, you stupid, girl.
The dialogue. I'm
Shut
so
the fuck up, all right? Pick that up.
Whole conversation with this cat. Baby, when I tell you, I'm so scared when these masks come off because the way I talk to myself down the street. Whole conversation. Answering myself.
Out talking out loud, huh? Just out loud, verbal. It's audible.
Sometimes I've had people look and I have to act like I've learned now to put one AirPod in so that it seems like I might be on the phone, even though I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm dead ass having a whole conversation by myself. And I'm starting to think maybe I might not be all the way well. Because sometimes it's not just like I'm working through things. Sometimes it's like what I would say if I was talking to you about the Janet Jackson documentary. It's like,
Yeah.
girl, she's
Insane.
not here. You're losing it.
You
Shame.
prepping, girl.
I
That's
know.
prep. That's your mind. But you are the person that's observing you being crazy.
It's that double
Then it gets
consciousness.
meta.
Then it's
You
that
are the
double
person that's
consciousness.
observing you having these conversations. Like, yo, this bitch is wild.
Yep.
She's
Yeah.
being fucking weird,
She's-
Joe.
Listen. Anyway, that's our episode, folks.
Great.
What's your relationship to shame? What's your safe space? How do you let people into your safe space? How do you show up in your safe space? We don't know, but we hope you do.
If you could get there's certain sound bites that we have to get. We have to get Dr. Umar sound bites, and we have to get Game of Thrones. We should get the Wire sound bites that we just throwing in.
Go ahead, get them, girl. Get them.
Shame. I don't know how to do it. I gotta get somebody to teach me how to. Because Dr.
Girl.
Umar, I just want his clip so bad.
No. Yo, this episode is over. It's a long one. You are all loved. See you next week for another episode of Around the Wake.
I might be high next time, so.
Yes! No, she said, yes! Show up to the safe space. Hi, that's going to be the test. Can Shanti get high on this episode?
Shame.
All right.
Bye.
That was like a solid B.
Good. Fabulous. Oops.
What
time is it? 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. I be amped. That's one thing that I don't like. Is how amped I am on Monday night. After be in my bed
record? Let me see how you be.
I be hyped up. I just be in my bed, can't sleep. It takes me forever.
It's terrible. That's me every night. I've been going to sleep at 3. Tell me why.
You need to take some valerian root or something. You take some herbs.
I need to do something because this is not sustainable.
Stop watching pornos.
All right, I won't hold you. I'm editing this.
I can do it. Send it this way.
We should look on the pod people thing. Well, one, I didn't write that lady back.
Who?
The CPA lady. Ask her. So during the day would be best for you, right?
What are you doing? I don't know what her hours are.
That's the thing. I don't think that I can ask her to do it stupidly after work. I'm gonna look at my schedule tomorrow and try to get during the day. You said Thursday and Friday during the day?
Yes.
I'm gonna I just want to make sure that nothing pops up. I have a meeting to review my projects, so I just want to make sure I'm good. These bodies, they all got the same body. All right.
People buying their bodies?
Oh yeah, everybody buying their bodies, baby.
That's just wild.
It's all the same body.
It's all the same body.
I haven't lost it yet because I have no interest in doing all that. So that's how I know I'm still somehow here.
It's all the same body.
It's the same body. It's the same hips. It's literally the same everything.
I wonder what these... Anyway. But,
somebody said, why is Chi sending me this shit about Jermaine Dupri? Jermaine the Gremlin Dupri. I'm so mad. I'm mad for Janet.
Uh-oh. Beyonce done posted.
What? Oh, we gotta talk. I'm sick of Instagram. I hate it. Oh, our algorithm is all off. We be having like 5 people see our stuff now. So I think they're gonna keep doing that until we put some money behind some of this.
Really?
That's what somebody told me. They were like, girl, all they want is for you to put a couple ad dollars and then you'll start being a little more visible to folks. They were like, but anybody that's not paying money, they're not letting
I
them
missed
through.
this. Whoopi Goldberg said that the
I
Holocaust
saw
is
that.
not about race.
She did. She cleared it up. She tried to anyway. She said that it was about people. What she was saying was that the heart of it wasn't about race. It was about basically a loss in humanity.
Girl.
Oh, there you go, Blue. It's your midnight snack. Boo.
All right, well, let's talk about it on Sunday. I'm trying to leave at like 10. Get there at 12.
I'm more nervous for you. I hope some of the snow melts because ain't nobody moving their cars and they ain't no parking.
Oh, it's going to melt. It's going to be like 68. It's going to be like 60 degrees.
Damn, alternate side parking is going to be back in effect, baby. Where do you see Shanti? No, it's not. Why would you make that? Why would you make
Thursday's warm. Thursday's 47, 46, 50 degrees. It's getting warm.
It's going to rain.
Oh, it might snow on Friday, though.
Oh, fuck. And then it's back to 15 degrees Saturday, so it might be icy. 13 degrees on Sunday.
Where do you see this at? It's cold in New York. It is.
I know. All right. Well, we'll figure it out. It's fine. Everything's fine.
All right. Send me all the things.
You sure, Sheila?
What?
You sure?
Mm-hmm. It'll be all right.
I hope. You still reading up Red Lip Theology real fast? I'm still reading it.
Mm-mm.
Damn.
I'm reading the How.
Oh, I put the How
and
down.
Bowel Management. I went to bed reading Bowel Management 2 days ago. Not lying. About the large intestine, small intestine. Girl. Duodenum, cecum, cecum.
Yo, heal my IBS real quick,
You
and
gotta
I
stop
will love you forever.
eating wheat, bitch.
But I really got to look into this gluten thing.
Yes.
I'm not sure that I know how to do it.
You might have to heal your gut first. You have to stop gluten, then you have to heal it.
How do I heal it?
I don't know. You got to geek out on broths. You got to do like beef broths and probiotics and
I do a ton of
gelatinous things.
Gelatinous things.
I'll go on the gluten diet. I'll try.
I'm like, what gluten do I eat?
Bread,
Really?
pasta.
I don't eat pasta. I do not make pasta.
Must be bread. Tortilla chips are corn though. So
Yeah, but the cheese sauce be having, they put stuff in that cheese. I know it because as soon as I ate it, it was.
Is it dairy?
I'm pregnant. It's not dairy because I just had for my snack
yogurt.
I tore it up. I had some Greek yogurt with some cinnamon, a little bit of cinnamon checks on top with some strawberries. The checks are gluten free. It's so good.
And it's the gluten then. You gotta write it down. You just have to make a diary of it. See how your body feels. How your poops doing after you eat it, girl? Poops
My
don't
poops
lie.
are always bad.
Your poops are always bad.
Always. That's why I take my magnesium every night. And
When you say bad, what do you mean? Like runny?
I'm gonna stop
To
recording.